The AI revolution and the recession is the perfect storm in order to get you laid off. So, if you haven't been sleeping under a rock, we are in tech layoff land where tech people are getting laid off left and right. Tesla laid off 14,000 people. I see it all over. And other, Google let people go. But we're officially not yet in a recession because they tweaked the numbers. And I love that people are starting to say, no, we are in a recession and we're not in it for, whatever they're saying. But what's the tragic part about this whole thing, what they're saying, what they're lying, is it's starting to come out. And now with the advancement of AI, I feel like we're in the perfect storm that is brewing. And what do I mean by that? I mean that look at this tipsy robot. This is one of them they have exactly in Las Vegas. And that robot makes drinks. It's an attraction. But there's more coming to a place near you, and it's going to replace your local bartender. So what does that do? Well, a bartender is somebody that has skills that can perform your drink and make it good and, serve it to you. But now you don't need a bartender anymore. So now you just get this robot and you basically have your own bartender. And guess what? That bartender's, if it's working right and if it's not shut down, but if it's working right as it's supposed to, and once it's dialed in, it makes drinks all the time the same way. It doesn't overpour, it doesn't underpour. It makes it the exact same way as you request it or as how it's programmed to do. And that is, to some way, really good because you always get the exact same amount of liquor. But you always, you're never going to get an overpour. Even if you're nice to the robot or nice to the person, they're not going to give you a nicer drink. So that's not going to happen, because if you're nice to the bartender, they might give you a little extra. And I know some people that go to bars frequently, including myself in my younger days, they'll give you a little bit more because they know you. Not with this one. So it keeps the business owner's cost down. And that's one way of doing it, right? So then I came to think it, so what else is on the verge of being automated? Then I see, let me check my phone because I had so many pictures of it. Then I see Flippy, the robot, and that thing is amazing. That's actually doing frying, and that is replacing 2 people. So now you have 2 people that have, so 3 people. You replace the bartender with that. You replace the fryer, the person on the fryer with that fryer machine that I just showed you. And yeah, that means that you already replaced 2 people. And now let's see what other replacements you got, what we're going to replace. So the fryer got replaced. Now let's replace your barista. So barista also replaced. I've seen these at airports, and yeah, they're 24/7. And I don't know if you lease the robots and then you just pay per coffee made to the company that's gonna put one up. That I don't know, but there's probably some real interesting financing options that you can do. Or it's like every copy you pay a certain percentage amount. And so then that brought me to a little rabbit Google hole where it's like, what else? What else has can be replaced? And I was like, let's look at tires. Let's see if you can replace a car tire with a robot. And sure enough, I looked at last year's. This is it. I don't know if it's gonna replace, put it on the stand where you take the rubber off the rim and stuff like that. That I don't know, but it's just a little bit away. And now you're gonna say, well, that's gonna also create new jobs. Yes, it does, but not as much as it's gonna replace. And now you're gonna be like, oh, but automation has been a thing forever. I know, but this one is gonna be more, how do I say it? This one's going to be more hefty, and it's going to hit everybody more than it used to. Because just because we went from horses and then to tractors, that didn't really replace humans. And then we're like, oh, we had other stuff where we replaced it with computers and all that, and there were other jobs created. But yeah, it will create jobs, but once these are developed and they're just selling them and just handing them out, because all these restaurants, all these Burger Kings across the US, there are so many of them, have hundreds, if not thousands of employees that flip hamburgers, that do things that are entry level to give people a chance, to give people an opportunity to get into the workforce and do that. But now you're going to get even a bigger scissor between, or delta between the people that are having a high paying job, because these jobs that they're replacing are the lower paying ones, right? So they're replacing lower paying jobs with higher paying ones. But see, a service tech can service 8 or 9 of these robots, or 10 of them in one area, or even more. And so that means that there's going to be more high paying jobs, and more of them, the less paying jobs are going to be gone. So now you're like, oh my gosh, why are we doing that? Well, with the AI revolution and what is going to be, thinkable, what you ever dream of is going to happen. And I think this generation where we grew up on iPads is going to be really, really cool and interesting to see where this goes. And I feel like that's why countries and governments have been talking about universal income, because it's going to be so difficult for people to pay their bills if they don't have the adequate skill to keep up. And how do you keep up? Well, you got to be tech savvy, you got to do things. And I've also seen now in rest stops in France, I think it was, where they have pizza robots, pizza vending machines, where you just get a machine and basically it makes you pizza depending on however you like it. So that's another concept of how they're going to do it. And yes, you need people to fill it, but you need these anyways to deliver to pizza shops. But a whole pizza shop used to be, 4 or 5 employees making pizza dough and all that. And now you just go to your local, almost like Redbox, and get your pizza. So it is scary to see, because even though for me, I'm looking at it like, oh, there's going to be great opportunities, but these opportunities are going to be limited to people that have money and that have highly trained skills. And with these tech workers and the layoffs, it's going to be interesting, because to have Tesla on your resume, I would say is pretty impressive. And if you were an engineer at Tesla, at one of these 14,000 that got laid off, it's going to be interesting to see where your journey is going to go, because it's hardly going to go up. I think there's only a few more companies out there that's as glorious, like Apple, Meta, Facebook, Netflix, basically a FANG company, right? So it's really, really interesting to see how, once the recession's going to hit and people have to pull back spending and they can't do that, and the AI revolution is, as it's going, it's like a snowball effect, because if they're starting to invest into these into these fryers, into these systems where they don't need humans, they don't really care about if and how many coffees they sell. They just need to make sure that it's profitable. Because McDonald's, I read somewhere, and let me know if you agree with this, is they're starting to price out their loyal customer base at the entry level, where you pay like $1 or $2 meal, like the dollar meals, and the dollar bogus are going to be gone. And I think that is what they're trying to do, because if you're starting to price out these people, then all of a sudden you're like, hey, if we price you out, our cooks in the kitchen have less stress, have less to do, and we still make more money. So if you can increase your profit margins on the hamburgers, it's a win-win. They win, and they win and they win, or they win and their executives win and everybody else loses. But hey, their employees also kind of win. If you're a hamburger or you're working in the kitchen, then you're not to be that much stressed. And I get it, but it is brutal, because you're competing with so many different high level people now if you're in the job market, right? So what do you do against that? Well, the AI revolution is here, and it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to get even worse for people, because I just saw another day that they had this like AI tool where it does sales calls for you. So you're like, nah, that can't be right. So I listened to it, and it does have a lag because it needs to process, like what the person's saying over the phone. So there's a little bit of lag. But once that's done, once the lag and everything's done, and it can actually hold sales calls, and it sounds like a real human, and it's like amazing. I listened to the phone call, and I don't know if it's doctored up or whatnot. For marketing purpose, you can do a bunch of interesting things and tweak it. But this guy was calling this other guy, "Hey James," and Air AI or something, I think it's called. And I don't know anybody that tested it yet. I haven't heard it. Let me know in the comments if you tested it before or not. But yeah, they're saying that it can do things, do phone calls. And it's going to be interesting to see what it can do if it can do outbound sales too. And the thing is that it's going to be really interesting when that tool can actually make cold calls, and you don't need to voice the automated machine anymore, where it says, "Did you think about this? Did you meant press 3 if you want to speak to an associate, or press 6 if you want to do if you want the business department, or press 8 if you want to talk to the service department." No, this tool then, if this is my ideas, if you can have it actually answer the machine, look up your account, and actually give you information, and then the human aspect is absolutely done. And is it good for the company, for the business owner that has that? Probably, because he can increase his profit margins, and all that he has overhead is that little software tool, right? And that's why I truly, truly feel like these millennials are talking about, "Oh, we need a side hustle. We need to make some money," because you don't know when your bat's not going to work. So I saw this guy on Tesla that said, "Oh, my computer, in the morning I started it up and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't let me log in. So I went to the office and my badge wouldn't work. And then I went to the front desk, and they said, 'Yeah, you're going to be terminated today.'" So I'm looking at it like, is this how we treat Americans now? Is this how we treat each other, where it's like we just revoke access and be done with it, and you're just disposable and just be done with it? So let me know if that happened to you. I'd be super curious to hear how they laid you off, because that's how they kind of laid my wife off. They laid her off over a phone call on vacation. It's like, "Hey, the company's closing down. That's it." But I think that's easier to kind of grasp when they lay the whole company off, rather than just you and a whole bunch of other people. So nobody's safe. You got to somehow figure out how to be so valuable that they're not going to lay you off. But that's hard. And that might be taking overtime work and not logging it so that you don't raise any red flags. Whatever you got to do to stay afloat, because if you can't pay those bills, then you might get replaced by AI next. And who knows where it's gonna end, because AI is, I would say it's probably about 20% the way there, where it's gonna be like, where you can actually launch apps and everything for AI that can talk and do things for you. And that's gonna be really, really interesting. And sandwich shops or restaurants, just like in here, are probably going to be replaced with cooks, with robots that cook for you, rather than have an actual cook you the food. So it's going to be a server or one of these dollies that run around, and seeing these two, that will replace you, and that will replace dishwashers, that will replace food runners. Yeah, it's like endless. It's just not quite there yet, but in the next few years, it's coming. And it's super sad, because we're robbing some people their livelihood. And so there always needs to be programs where they're AI innovation or something else, where they can get retrained so they can be competitive in the marketplace. That's kind of what college should do. But with just a college degree, you're not, that doesn't guarantee you get a job either now. Because if you're going to have to start in this job market, where, like in this recession job market, you've got to have AI on your resume. You got to have AI doing it. But then these job offers, or these what do you call these job descriptions have verbiage in it that they're looking for somebody entry-level pay, mid-level experience. So they're screwing you right there. So I don't know what the solution is, if we need to put laws in place that AI can't do everything, but it might be. So let me know, and like and subscribe if you watched for so long. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.